Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5 SEL all-wheel drive. Below me are two electric motors powering this all-electric vehicle. Now I am super excited to be driving this SEL all-wheel drive Ioniq 5 because it's not the top trim level. I've driven two other Ioniq 5s here on the channel. I've been lucky enough to have them as press loans where I got to drive them around as my car for an entire week. This is a 2023 Limited, and this is a 2025 Ioniq 5N, the high-performance blood-pumping version. And those are great fun. I like the Ioniq 5 a lot. However, those aren't very affordable, and those aren't what normal people are buying. And so today we're going to be taking a little bit of a step back and looking at a more affordable, the more realistic trim level that you might buy if you're looking for your Hyundai Ioniq 5. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that all-electric drivetrain. Well, as I mentioned, this is the SEL all-wheel drive, meaning it is the dual motor setup, so it has one motor in the front, one motor in the back for each axle, and you can find two-wheel drive versions. Now, two-wheel drive versions tend to have a little bit more range, but less performance, and of course, here in the Midwest, having all-wheel drive is a very nice luxury, so that's what a lot of people opt for. The range of the Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6 tend to be pretty good. However, Hyundai, in my experience, tends to be a little wishy-washy when it comes to range estimates, especially when you start to turn on the heat or AC. It drastically lowers that range, so just keep an eye on it. After you own one for a while, you'll kind of learn the limitations, but I would say if you could drive with under 200 miles a day, this should be a fine EV for you. So how does it feel to drive the Ioniq 5? Well, it offers the same EV experience that you'll find in pretty much every other electric car right now. Now, obviously, the Ioniq 5N is going to push that performance. That's going to be a lot quicker, and it's going to melt your face in the Starbucks drive-thru. But other than that, this is simple to drive, visibility is pretty good, and it's not a slouch either. Even though it isn't the performance version, this still gets up and goes, and I think is quicker than any person really needs. Oh! It still pushes you in the stomach, and it pushes you back in your seat is what I really meant to say. It gives you that roller coaster gut feeling. I think in 10 years, people aren't going to realize that normal, average, everyday cars that normal people buy aren't really supposed to do that. I think in the future, every car is going to, give you that guttural feeling, which is nice. But when I was growing up, the only cars that did that were the high-performance, crazy exotics, and now this average dad car can do that. That's pretty special. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster, and I do like this gauge cluster. I think it's relatively easy to see, easy to read, although I wish that the speedometer was a little bit more prominent. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our mode, voice commands, volume, skip track, phone options, and favorite, as well as our drive mode for eco, normal, and sport. And off to the right, we have our adaptive cruise control with lane keep assist and passive steering. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, gauge dimmer switch, traction control off, tailgate open, auto holding brake, and power parking brake. And moving on to the door, we do have our power mirrors, power locks, and power windows, and a lot of black plastic. This is where you're really going to start to notice that this is not the top trim level of the Ioniq 5, and so there are some basic things here. The owner said to me that he absolutely hates these door cards because they mark up so easily. This vehicle only has 7,000 miles on it, and yet it looks like it's been through a lot more than that. Moving into the center, we do get our infotainment display, wireless Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. We do have our seat and steering wheel warmers, quiet mode, things like that, and we do get our reverse camera. However, Hyundai is is really begrudging to give 360 cameras to their products. Now, you can get a 360 camera on the limited and N trim levels like I've tested before, and this is what that camera looks like in those upper trims if that's important to you. But this only gets the backup camera. Down below, we have 2 climate control vents and a hazard switch, and the climate controls. We do get dual zone climate, auto climate, things like that. And of course, up above, we do have like our map and navigation, media, tune, and camera buttons. So a nice little command center here. And down below, we do have a USB-A as well as a 12-volt outlet. Then we move up the center console. We do have cup holders, so we'll do a big friggin' bottle test. However, it fails. All Ioniq 5s fail, unfortunately. Then we have 2 more USB-As and our wireless charger with a big center console. We do get a little armrest in the middle. I do enjoy that. And the seats. Again, you're going to notice that these seats are more basic than what you would find in the higher trims. They are cloth seats in an EV. I think there's good points to that. I think there's bad points to that, and we'll talk about that with the final thoughts. But here are the cloth seats of a Hyundai Ioniq 5. However, speaking of seats, we do have another row of seating. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5 SEL all-wheel drive, and a couple of things to note. Something that doesn't change throughout the trim levels, obviously, is the fact that the rear space is really nice. I'm 5'11", not a small guy. I can sit up straight and I don't touch the ceiling. My knees don't hit the seat in front of me. Very, very nice to see all of that. Plenty of space. If you drive Uber or Lyft and you want a vehicle for that, this is going to be really, really good. A lot better than an Elantra or a Hyundai Accent or what have you. I do also have 2 USB-A chargers down below. No center console here, interestingly enough. So the more basic cloth seats don't get a center console, where the upper trims actually do. Power windows, of course, pretty standard stuff there. And as you can see, a car seat fits with ease. So if you do have a family or are in hopes of starting a family, this is going to be a great option for you. Here is how a child seat fits and looks in the back of the Ioniq 5 SEL. But let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the Ioniq 5 SEL, button here, and we do have a power-operated tailgate. Very, very nice to see that, because there are still cars today that not every trim level gets the power tailgate, so it's nice to see it on the SEL. Once we are back here, nothing really too crazy to write home about. We do have some carpeting down here, and we have some storage. Wait a second. That's not right. Leave that down there. So here's the rear cargo space of the Ioniq 5. In my time spending weeks with Ioniq 5s, I have always found that the rear trunk space was quite handsome and helpful. So very nice. Come up here, one single button for the power operated tailgate, right back down. Love to see that. Beautiful. Now, because this is an EV, we do have a frunk as well. However, it's not very large. There you go. That's it. That's all you get. It's enough to hold a little, charger, jump starter thing, but that is it. That is all the frunk space you get in the Ioniq 5. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I have always adored the look of the Ioniq 5. I think it's wonderful. I think Hyundai is doing a fantastic job with these, and I just love looking at them. However, this is finished in black, and that is not my favorite color because it always looks very dirty on cars like this and doesn't really accentuate how good the Ioniq 5 can look. So I've driven it in orange as well as this gray color, and I think that those are both better options. With all of that being said, speaking of options, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a Hyundai Ioniq 5 SEL all-wheel drive? Well, I like the Ioniq 5. I think the styling of it is wonderful, and I love what Hyundai is doing in the modern era. Even some of their gas products are looking really, really good right now, and that's always going to draw me to it. Like I said, I don't think black really accentuates the shape of the car all that well. It looks like a locked character in Super Smash Bros., but I digress. I think this car is very important, and I think this video is important, not because I'm making it. I don't have this high regard for me, but I think it's important for people to see what a more affordable EV looks like. We always see the top numbers, we see the expensive ones, and that's just not what the reality is all the time. You can find these for more affordable prices, and when you do, this is what you get. Now, the interior does lack some nice amenities. Some of the interior materials just don't feel as nice. This does feel like a basic car, but I also think that that's a good thing. We need basic EVs. If whoever is at the helm wants EVs to succeed, they can't be super expensive. If you want everyone to have an EV, you have to make them affordable. And so this is Hyundai making a little bit more affordable of a vehicle. Now, corners had to be cut. The seats aren't as nice. The door cards scratch easily. The floor mats look like a city bus, but you're not paying out the wazoo. So that's what this vehicle accomplishes very well. And even though you're not paying out the wazoo, if you just care about electric performance and range, this is great. The performance, as I said, gives you that stomach curdling feeling. It still looks good. And if you want to drive something electric, this is one of your best options. So here is a very realistic look at what you get from a Hyundai Ioniq 5 SEL all-wheel drive. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Carl for letting me borrow his Ioniq 5 for today's video. Carl has been an absolutely wonderful friend and asset to the channel. I have reviewed so many of his vehicles. I have truly lost count, and that is a good thing in my book. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.